Good evening. How's everybody doing? Let me just do a quick check here, make sure that my stream is coming through, my sound is good. Pardon the feedback you're about to hear in a minute. Just make sure. Quick check here. All right. Coming through, my sound is... Okay, so that's good. We're sounding pretty good. Background sound is not too loud, so I can keep it on while I'm talking. Thank you all for joining me. We're gonna give it a minute, give everybody some time to come in, actually, and give me a chance to share this video, share this live stream. Okay, so let's see how we're gonna do this. We'll refresh YouTube. The microphone. I always have to reset the microphone when I go live. Strange enough, something about this Yeti stereo microphone, or maybe it's just this particular one, or maybe it's one of whatever I have it set on. I'm not sure what it is, but this Yeti needs a little bit of attention from time to time. Sorry about that. I didn't know that I had dropped out so long ago. I was looking at other things. Sorry about that. I really have to figure out what it is that is making this microphone drop out frequently the way it is. As I was saying, there is an emotional component to all of the physical ailments that we deal with, that we address here in the BiomedRx Health Center. And this is what we do every day, right? And without a doubt, without fail, every time we deal with a client that has a physical illness, we can talk to them, or usually during treatment, they will volunteer the emotional roots of the condition from which they suffer. With experience in biomagnetic pair therapy, I've developed the skills to be able to kind of detect the root emotions that lead to a large percentage of physical illnesses that people tend to suffer from in the course of healing them. Excuse me. Biomagnetism and biomagnetic pair therapy are energetic healing arts. And in the process of practicing these healing arts over time, over many years, you eventually develop the ability to kind of recognize on a spiritual level the emotional energies that are usually at the root of most illnesses from which people are suffering, and they tend to be in clusters. These emotional and physical roots. I really highly suggest a book. Your body's telling you. Your body's telling you love yourself. Anyway, it's a very good book. I have a copy here in the BiomedRx Health Center, but I don't want to get up right now and go all the way back to the therapy room to get it. But I do recommend getting a copy of Your Body is Telling You. There's a lot of directions inside that give you the connections between physical illnesses and possible emotional counterparts. Now, it's well understood that a person suffering from anger, for example, is going to have problems with ammonia inside the liver, because anger starts in the head as a result of one's perception of scenarios that one is angered by, and yet it begins as a thought, travels down through the governing meridian, also called the spinal cord, and usually lands in the liver in the form of large deposits of ammonia. And so that's just one example. All emotions and emotional scenarios can do the same thing in different areas of your physical health. Now, this is why it is important to have good bedside manner, I guess you could say, or to be compassionate, or at least be a good listener, at least have some training in human psychology, of which I do have, and I am continuing to study as well. Here's my alma mater. Shout out to Cal State LA. And I will be licensed as a counselor very soon. But in the meantime, we are already performing neurofeedback and the other brain entrainment therapies here at the BiomedRx Health Center, as well as biomagnetic pair therapy. And this requires us to seek the emotional roots of the physical problems, because if we don't, these problems are just going to become chronic medical issues, chronic problems, okay? And you don't want that to happen. You don't want that to happen. So, in the process of addressing emotional issues, you're going to find that just like the timelessness of Shakespearean plays, human patterns of human behavior kind of repeat themselves throughout the lives and of different people, and no matter, regardless of culture, regardless of race, regardless of geography, and regardless of time, okay, epoch in which they live. And when these things happen very frequently, you can develop sort of an internal system or even an external system. You can put it to an Excel spreadsheet like many biomagnetic pair therapists have done. You can record all of these illnesses, their causes, their emotional root causes, and what the solutions were. And so while you're doing this, you're kind of building up a PDR, right, or an almanac. But this will inevitably lead you to try to come up with pills. Now, why do I say pills? What are pills? Well, pills are medicine that are made once to be used among many different people, either many different people who have one condition or many different people who have a number of conditions, depending on how well the pill is designed. I tend to think of philosophy as opposed to psychology as a pill, because with the right philosophical outlook, a person can really re-examine why they think the way they think and liberate themselves from having, because by shifting your paradigm, you're naturally going to have a different response, a different emotional response to perceiving the same information as what you would have had you not experienced the paradigm shift. And you can learn, right? One can learn about a philosophy without embracing it 100%. You don't have to become a rational objectivist, for example, simply because I'm going to be talking about some of the principles of rational objectivism in the course of this video. Okay? During the time when my mic was off, I'm sorry, I was explaining to you that I have spent years exploring the philosophy of rational objectivism and reading the works of Ayn Rand and other objectivist authors. I've also explored, Immanuel Kant and Nietzsche. I spent quite a few years studying Nietzsche as well, and other philosophers. But I think it's important to expand one's consciousness by being able to digest the philosophies of the world. Will you still have triggers? Yeah. Will they be the same triggers that you have now? Probably not. And that's why it's important, if you are the kind of person who doesn't want to expose your strangers and your dirty laundry to a stranger, right? Expose all of your family's crap and all of your history and all of that to a stranger, then philosophy is a good way to do self-repair in the psychological department. And this is simply the fact. So I'm going to talk about purpose, okay? Because in rational objectivism, the philosophy of Ayn Rand is what they say. It's actually an amalgamation of Aristotelian reason, okay? Aristotelian logic. Now, we hold three things valuable, right, of primal importance: reason, purpose, and self-esteem. Reason being that man's mind is his tool of survival. Every definition has a genus and a differentia. What is the definition of man? Well, man is the rational animal, right? We are animals. What differentiates us, that is the genus of our definition. We are animals. The differentia of the definition of man is that we are rational, right? Man is the rational animal. Well, as the rational animal, right, we keep ourselves safe from the rest of the animal kingdom that happen to be superior to us with regard to ferocity, for example, like the Kodiak bear and the lion and the tiger and all of the animals that are way more physically dominant, shall we say, than man is. But we have our intellect, and our intellect separates us from the animal kingdom, and we have a good life here on earth as a result of it. Well, understanding this, then we can boil that down, we can distill that down to an individual level. And on an individual level, yes, you have to be rational in order to survive. No matter how faithful you are, no matter how much you believe, which is a deliberate suspension of reason, because you've decided to hang your hat on a certain concept without exploring alternatives and allowing your own understanding to continue to blossom. Reality is what reality is, and your survival on this planet really comes down to the amount of sensory integrations you are able to successfully form in compliance with the unchanging realities of nature and of life on Earth. The more you are able to understand that which is, the more you are able to master that which is, and the more you are able to have a successful life. And this is the basis of rational objectivism, and it's a basis with which I do not disagree. Now, that's reason, right? We're going to skip over purpose, and we're going to talk about self-esteem. Because I'm going to land on purpose, right? Self-esteem. Self-esteem is comprised of two things simultaneously. Self-efficacy, meaning I can, and self-worth, meaning I deserve, right? A person with self-efficacy understands that they have the smarts and the ability to earn a good life for themselves. And the person with self-worth understands that they deserve the best life, the best quality of life, that their intellect and their hard work, their risk-taking, their character, right, is able to earn for themselves. And self-esteem is necessary. Self-esteem is necessary for survival, no matter who we are, no matter what gender we are, no matter what race we are, no matter what nationality we consider ourselves, or anything like that. Okay? So now we're going to get to purpose. Purpose, that's the fun part. Purpose, that's the icing on the cake. Purpose, that is the part where you get to put your big boy pants on and you get to determine what your life is about. You get to decide what your life is. You get to determine your purpose, okay? And everyone's purpose is comprised of their values, okay? You're going to have a purpose whether you deliberately design one or not. Just look at your values. Look at the things that you are willing to work for. Look at the things that you are willing to dedicate yourself to, right? Mine, for example, is my son Kai, and my relationship with my son. Actually, I value all of my children above all other things. And I've dedicated my life to helping to see them grow and blossom individually as as individuals, as people, okay? I want them to be subjectively selfish, and I want them to be rational and objective, and not to get caught into the traps of narcissism and evil, which are just wastes of your intelligence. That's part of my purpose. Now, in my book, I'm writing a book, as many people know, Black American Party, okay? It is a book examining, you guessed it, the concept of a Black American political party. And I hope that the work has merit and has value. You have to excuse me because the weather is changing and my lips are getting a little chapped from time to time. My hope is that I am touching upon all of the subjects that we must consider in the formation of such a party in order to make sure that it is by and for the benefit of foundational Black Americans. And in this book, a few of the chapters, I have to address the zeitgeist, the time ghost. I have to address it. It's very powerful right now, especially in our lives. And the zeitgeist is comprised of all of the things. It's a ghost, the zeitgeist, right? It is a ghost that travels through time. And the zeitgeist is everything that is presented to you via the media and all of the other controlled forms of communication that you have to interpret as reality, but are not reality or contain no reality in and of themselves. And in this day of forced compliance with the zeitgeist, okay, because now we have an excuse, we have a doctor's note, we have a medical emergency that's giving the authors of the zeitgeist power, and they're trying to seize as much as they can while they have us, in this position. However, there are several layers to the zeitgeist. When I started the book, I was only thinking about the American zeitgeist and the Black American zeitgeist. And I'm going to be talking about limitations within those two in a couple of minutes. But what we're dealing with right now is the birth of the global zeitgeist, or the first flexing of the global zeitgeist, the first roar of the global zeitgeist. And it's changing our world, but we have to take a look at where we are, all right? We have to take a look at what's going on in our world, and we have to take a look at the limitations that are placed upon us when we dare to stand up and own our purpose, okay? Because within the zeitgeist, within the American zeitgeist, and within the Black American zeitgeist, we are allegedly not supposed to do that, not allowed to do that, okay? And you decide what's best for your life. If you don't decide, if you are not free to decide what's best for your own life, then what is the point, right? What's the point? That's purpose, okay? You determine your own values, because they're not going to give you permission. As a Black man in America, I'm just going to tell you straight up, it's going to be very difficult to find social understanding and accepting of the reality of Black fatherhood, of how much I love my children, and how much all Black men that I know absolutely adore their children. But the media manipulators seem to love to promote another type of caricature in representation of Black manhood. That's highly offensive to me, because that that's at the American zeitgeist level. That's not only communicating to Black America, that's communicating to all of America. And remember, our Hollywood, our entertainment machine, our star system, our media is the most powerful and influential in the world. And these images are immediately blasted into the global zeitgeist. In a country within which foreigners immigrate constantly, with an understanding of American culture that was dictated to them by the foolishness put together by people from outside of our culture, who are really painting a picture of how they would like to see us, instead of painting a picture of who we are and what we are and how we are today. And so that's why it's very important to understand purpose. That's why it's very important for all of us, especially for all men, okay? Especially in this time of rejection of the patriarchy, the rejection of masculinity, okay? We have to build our own characters and select our own virtues, right? Virtues like independence, honesty, integrity, justice, productiveness, right? And pride. We're the people who have built the greatest nation on earth. How do we end up with a reputation for laziness? That's in the zeitgeist. These are the things that we have to ignore. These are the things that we have to question and we have to point out, regardless of if it makes us appear sensitive. And I'm not just speaking to Black men, I'm speaking to all men, because trust me, the society in which we live, the strength of our society, which is families are being under attack right now. The institutions of family is being put under attack right now, okay? And family, you got to have a man and a woman to make babies. I mean, that's simply the bottom line. So, I'm in favor of the traditional model, right, for families. And I think that's the best way to create and raise healthy human beings. All right. Resist the zeitgeist. Okay. You have to resist the zeitgeist, the American zeitgeist, the global zeitgeist, the Black American zeitgeist. You have to resist it. I live in a state of resistance of it. I'm an entrepreneur. Okay. That's not allowed. That's not allowed in the American zeitgeist. Okay, it's not really allowed in the Black American zeitgeist, really. Entrepreneurship. Okay, yes. Make that one of your values. Fatherhood. Okay. We live within a society that, I don't know if it's presenting it as a privilege or something. I don't really see it as a privilege, but they don't seem to understand that Black men, American men really, love and desire to nurture and provide for and educate their children, but we do. Right, Kai? Yep, that's my son right there. Kai, come say hi. I know. Well, come say hi before you set it up. See, my son goes live every day on Kai Lockett, so you got to check him out on his channel. In fact, you probably, like I said, he's going to be going live in very short order. He's an avid gamer, so he plays Fortnite and
Dragon
Ball Fighters. Come down and say hi, man.
Hey there.
This is Kai. This is my man, Kai Man. So you got to subscribe to the Kai Lockett channel, okay?
Yes.
You see? Yeah. Good job, man. I'm hearing you. And when I finish my live, I'll watch you when you're live. All right. Have fun. So yeah, you can log into his channel in a couple of minutes. But you have to make your own values, and you have to be able to stand on your own and say, you know what, I don't care if there are no characters on television that are black men, that are good fathers, and that are entrepreneurs that work for themselves and stand on their own 2 feet. And I'm not afraid of hypergamy. I mean, a woman has every right to try to find the most successful man that she can find. I mean, a woman would be stupid to want to select a guy with no ambition, a guy who's setting himself up to be poor. That kind of doesn't make logical sense. So, crying about that is really not adapting one's mind to reality as it exists. So that strategy is not going to help you achieve your values. It's not going to help you obtain the things that you want to obtain in this life. So I hope I'm getting through, and I hope you understand that the attack on the family is really an attack on you, heterosexual man. That's the fact. And we are going to have to take ownership. We're going to have to take ownership by civic activity. We're going to have to take ownership in our families, in service to our families. We're going to have to take ownership in service to our community participation, community activity, community involvement, all while resisting the zeitgeist that says that we don't hold these values. But you have to define your own purpose. And there's nothing more dangerous than a man who has found his purpose. That's a fact. There's nothing more dangerous than a man who has found his purpose. And, I'm going to do another check because you see every now and then the mic is a little funky. And, I'm going to do another check because you see. All right. All right. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys joining. Let's get back here. So now, when we're talking about purpose, right? That takes a little bit of thought for a man to sit down and put together, because that purpose has to be a purpose that's going to make money, man. If it doesn't make dollars, then it doesn't make sense. And that's just the way men have to view the world. I think we've been duped. We've been duped in the world. We've been definitely duped by the education system into thinking that the world cares if you are a poet, or the world cares if you are an artist. I'm an original member of the Hittite Empire. I am a poet. I attended Bellas Artes de San Fernando in Spain and Otis Parsons here in Los Angeles. And I am an artist. But these are things that I can do. These don't define me as a person. When you're establishing your purpose as a man, that purpose has to include a bag of gold. Because a man has to walk in his life, through his life, in the acquisition of the gold. Coming to that understanding, coming to that realization is what empowers a man to really be a man in the world. Okay? So I'm glad that we were able to discuss this today. All right? Purpose. We're talking about purpose. This is one of many, many discussions that we're going to be having about purpose. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys joining. And it is Friday, TGIF, happy Friday. I'd like you guys to, don't forget to hit the bell, subscribe, yada, yada, yada. Comment, tell me how great the videos are. I appreciate that. Okay. And of course, go to the BiomedRx TV page, okay, YouTube channel, and also subscribe there. Yes. Well, thank you very much. And, before I let you guys go, you got to hear a word from our sponsor.
Gold label quality BiomedRx CBD oil is made from organic hemp that is locally grown, glyphosate-free, gluten-free, non-GMO, homogenized, third-party tested, and CO2 extracted. Visit www.biomedrxcbd.com.
That's right. And when you go to BiomedRxCBD.com, you can not only buy some CBD oil, we do have the best CBD oil that you can purchase. I'm just being honest with you. You can also buy our supplements, right? Like Optimum Man and Optimum Woman.
BiomedRx Optimum Woman is the only woman's high-potency full-spectrum multiple vitamin supplement to contain 56 nutrients, including those most important for today's woman, such as calcium for bone health, iron for healthy red blood cells, beta-carotene, biotin for nail and hair health, gamma-linoleic acid from evening primrose oil, icosapent, grapeseed extract, a potent antioxidant important for maintaining capillary strength, and vegetarian digestive enzyme. Visit www.biomedrxsupplements.com.
Yeah, I cheer when I see the ladies too. It always gives me a nice cheery feeling. So anyway, yeah, I know. I deserve a punch. Oh, damn. Sorry. I deserve another one. Shit. Okay. Well, anyway, I'm going to stop playing with you guys. I want to thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it. I hope everybody's doing great. Hope everybody has a wonderful evening. And, keep it funky. You got to keep it funky, right? I mean, what's the point if you don't keep it funky? And stay tuned, okay? I'm going to be going live later on. I was just talking about philosophy on this live. I just wanted to talk about purpose. I have a lot of other things to talk about. We're going to be talking about the Gateway Experience. I'm presently undergoing the Gateway Experience with the Monroe Institute, where we are studying on how to become a remote viewer, which means the kind of person who can become a ghost and astral travel, right? Provoke out-of-body experiences at will, and to be able to leave, to travel their take their consciousness out of their physical body and to travel somewhere and to observe. Okay, now there is an entire classification of espionage agent called remote viewers, and I am undergoing the Monroe Institute Gateway process right now. I'm introducing my brain to it in order to provoke, in order to train myself and to have that ability to provoke an out-of-body experience at will. So it is a job. It is a climb. It's not something that you can just do in a couple of days or even a couple of weeks. I'll probably be undergoing this intensive training and purification of my body and taking monatomic gold and other substances to train. I'm going to also be doing 40 dives in 40 days in a hyperbaric oxygen therapy chamber with my son. So we're going to be doing 40 dives in 40 consecutive days at 100% oxygen. while also training for the gateway process. And we're going to also be training in intensive neurofeedback and cranial electrotherapy stimulation and audiovisual brain entrainment, all at the same time, because what we're trying to do is promote and solidify neurodendritic plasticity. Okay, we're trying to help the dendrites of the brain grow more dendrites. And this is something that we're just now finding out that can be done up until any age in life. So, since I understand as a neurofeedback clinician that repetitive training of the brain does provoke a permanent shift in cognitive function, and this type of shift happens as a result of neurodendritic plasticity that happens as a result of the stressors placed on the brain, I am what you would consider a brain builder. I'm like a bodybuilder for the brain. I'm the kind of person who has gotten to the point where I've trained my brain so much for other clients and for my son and for myself that I'm past the point of not having PTSD or any of those other reactionary conditions that come from the accumulation of dysregulation over time as a result of the emotional traumas and stresses of daily life. I not only no longer suffer from that, I'm into what we call neurohacking or consciousness hacking. And a few other people are coming through this experience with me here at the BiomedRx Health Center as well. So here we are working, and I'm going to be going through the process. I spoke in other videos of how listening to these binaural beat audio files, and you can find out a lot more about binaural beats if you go to BiomedRx.com, okay, and BiomedRx TV. We already talked about that, but if you go to the BiomedRx TV page channel here and subscribe, I have a couple of videos, I believe, that address binaural beats. Anyway, once you learn about binaural beats and you understand what the gateway process is doing, it's training you in it's a cocktail of frequencies, but these frequencies take you up into the super high gamma frequency band, the unifying frequency band. And the brain will respond well to repetitive training, just like the muscles of the body, okay? The difference being, when you stop training the muscles in your body, the muscles go back to being in an out of shape condition, whereas the brain learns, okay? The brain learns. That's why you don't forget how you ride a bike, because you learn doing repetitive training, right? That's why you don't forget languages that you learn. You don't forget the things that were drilled into your head through repetitive training, okay? So if it is possible to provoke an out-of-body experience using the Monroe Institute Gateway audio, then we shall see. I shall see. Because I've trained myself to synchrony neurofeedback at the highest frequency of gamma that is available in Signet software. And it took a while to get there. It took a while. But once I provoked the shift quite thoroughly, and I'm enjoying a higher level of cognitive performance as a result of that. So I intend to continue training in the gateway experience until such time as I am capable of doing an out-of-body experience, provoking out-of-body experiences at will. So once again, I want to thank you guys for joining. Shout out to everybody at Cal State Los Angeles, my alma mater. I shall be back there very soon. Everybody stay kind, right? Because kind is the only sexy. Stay blessed and stay healthy. This is what I always say on BiomedRx. And that'll be it. Okay? Have a wonderful day. Peace.